solve problems. But then before I go on, I hope everybody can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can do. We can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. So now, what are we talking about? Data analysis. Yeah, so I'm sure you guys be looking at my like maybe slides. Why am I doing Barbie kind of thing? But when we talk about the creative charts, but I was trying to like, okay, why don't I go into the world of the designers? Try to like let's be creative about this analysis of a thing because yeah, most times more of the things we know about analysis. When you hear the word data analysis, you're like, oh, data analysis. You think it's all about complex mathematics or whatever. No, but then data analysis can be related to what we do in terms of life, I would say. And for as much as when I've been doing data analysis, it's something I enjoy doing, and it's something I see as, you being able to, solve problems, like I said, and embrace the basics. So, data analysis, what's this about? What are we trying to talk about? But then before I do, data analysts, assemble. What are we saying here? Assemble. I'm sure everybody knows what I mean by that. So let's assemble and kick off with what we'll be doing today. Now, before that, I'll first talk about introductions, and we're talking about the data jungle. Data jungle. So, let's imagine data as a vast, unexplored jungle. Your role as the data explorer extraordinary. You, the data analyst. Now, what's your mission? My mission is to extract valuable insights from the wilderness of information. Guess what? We're talking about the jungle. We're talking about the data. You take data as what? As a jungle. You, data explorer, come and explore, not data explorer, data explorer. Now, what are you trying to do? You're trying to extract valuable insights from wilderness of informations. And yeah, each data point is a clue that will lead to the treasure of knowledge. And but before I go on, I want us to understand what do we mean by data analysis. You know, let's talk about us being a data detective. You are unraveling the mystery of information. So you are saying, okay, welcome to a creative journey through the data jungle. These lectures actually uncover the mystery of data analysis by exploring its tools, techniques, and storytelling potentials. Those are what we're going to be doing today. So I'm trying not to make it look like, okay, we just, trying to just data. Yeah, let's see the story behind it. Let's see the story around it. And trust me, it's going to be a very good story because as we follow through and see what we're trying to unravel, then you begin to understand that there are a lot of things that you could do in terms of analysis that doesn't have to make you look too strict, but then get to create a storyline with it. Now let's move on. Welcome to the data jungle. Like I said, we say data is a vast and complex. It's vast and complex, and it's a jungle filled with valuable insights. Valuable insights. But then, before I move on, I'm sure some people might be expecting, let's hear a comprehensive definition of data analysis. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Like I said, all we're really talking about today is about data analysis, but we're going to go into it as in terms of a creative way, in terms of having a creative chart. So, but then let me give a general knowledge. When you talk about data analysis, you say it's a comprehensive method, of inspecting, cleaning, transforming, and modeling data to discover useful information, draw conclusions, and support decision making. I will go again from the definition. Data analysis is a comprehensive method of inspecting, cleansing, transforming, and modeling data to discover useful information, draw conclusion, and support decision making. So why do we have to do this? Now, back to us, data jungle. A jungle is filled with valuable insight, actually, because when you go into a jungle, that's when you begin to see that, oh, there are actually some hidden gems in the jungle that we don't know about, only if we enter it here. So just like you've said here, data is vast and it's complex. So valuable insight awaits discovery. So when you dig deep into a data, you begin to find hidden gems in it, in the data. And our mission as data analysts is to do what? Extract insight to drive decision and create value. Extract insight to do what? Drive decisions and create value. So most times, you being a data analyst, you are coming to take a particular information. They're like, oh, hello, we have this. okay, this is what you should do for us. Now, you as a data analyst, you begin to feel like, okay, the next thing is how do you solve the problem? You start thinking, critical thinking that, okay, what do I do with the data? But before you think about the data, you need to start asking questions. Now, I said, can you spot any hidden data symbol in the foliage? Uh, don't mind me. So let's go. Now, on to the next. Packing your data backpack. Yes, very important. Now, what are the backpacks we're talking about? We're talking about tools. So when you're in the jungle, obviously you need to have things you need to hold on to in order for you to, like, find your way about what's going on in the jungle. Find your way about how you're going to survive, how you're going to, like, help yourself in terms of maybe you're going to find food, because obviously in the jungle you might be seeing some fruits you want to eat or create parts for yourself. So there are actually some essential tools for data analysis. So you need to reach equal yourself for exploration. So there are some tools. We're talking about Excel, SQL, Python, visualization tool. These are not just the tools alone, but they are a lot. But they are the main and the common one we use. We're talking about Excel, and I'm talking about data in terms of the jungle. Excel is your market for basic tasks. Yeah, Excel goes a very long way. SQL, your compass for database navigation. Python, your swift army knife for versatility. Visualize it to your binoculars for spotting trends. Now, I'll begin to speak about all these things, but then before I move on, I want us to get a storyline aside this jungle. So, for example, as a chef, I love to cook. Yeah, definitely. And I was called, hello, could you come and you know, cook for us? And I was like, okay, what do you want me to cook? And they're like, I want you to cook beans. Oh, wow, we're going somewhere. Listen, now they want me to cook beans. As a chef, the next thing I want to ask is, an event. They want me to cook beans. That's weird. Okay, depends. I don't know the kind of event they want to have, but as every event, we expect them to come and say, "Oh, we want you to prepare jollof rice." But that's not the issue. Now, the main thing is, as the chef, the next thing you're asking is, "Hello, what kind of beans? What kind of beans are we looking at here?" And the next thing is, oh, they are telling you, oh, we want beans with, mixed all together with the ingredient. We want beans with its pepper all aside. They are telling you what they want. Why? Because you asked the necessary question. Get it? I am already talking about some processes you need to understand as a data analyst while doing data analysis. Now, we call this process data analysis process. Now, shift again. I'm still on the food. I love food, so it's fine. Just let's follow along. Let's get to work with me. So now, next thing I'm asking is, oh, what kind of beans do they want me to do? How do they want me to prepare it? How do they want me to garnish it? How do they want me to? I ask questions. I try to make sure I understand what they want me to do. And the next thing is, okay, where do we get good beans? Because I won't want to prepare beans that is all filled with weevils or etc. like that. But I want to get a very good one because I must make sure my client is satisfied in terms of data analysis work, customer satisfaction. Sometimes we work in things like that. So my client must be satisfied. I need to get the best beans. But obviously, I would have asked things they want me to do or add to whatever I want to cook. And obviously, I'll have asked for the money I need to create all those things. So, while I go to search for beans, and the next thing is me getting those beans. And the next thing, in terms of what I've just said, getting the beans now, is you getting your data. I'm still going to speak about the data, and we're still going to talk in data term. But yeah, get the story. Let's go along. We're chatting here. And the next thing is after getting these beans, and I would find a way to get a very good beans. While I get these good beans, and while I get what I want, the next thing I want to do is look at the beans. So obviously, even if as good as this beans is, I still need to check it out. That's you being a data analyst. Guess what? What am I trying to say? Is that you being a data analyst now is when you get the data, you've asked the necessary question. The next thing you need to do is what? Explore this data. What am I doing? I got the beans. After getting the beans, what did I do? I checked the beans out. This beans is not. No, please, I don't want this. You are exploring, and that's just what you need to do. In terms of data. Now, when you've noted your business question, the next thing you want to do is what? Get the data. After getting the data, explore this data, and after exploring this data, what do I do? The next thing is, okay, I think I like these beans. I take it. While I take it, I still go home to do a deep exploration on it in order for me to do what? Cleaning. That's when we have something in data analysis that is called data cleaning. I don't know if everybody's flowing along with me. That's why we have something called data cleaning, data analysis. So while I check these bins, I'm like, okay, I've explored, but I still need to find a way to make sure it is to my taste in order for what to satisfy my clients. So, while I take these bins, I clean it. How do I clean? We pick bins, obviously. So as we pick, we check for shafts, we check for stones. We're doing cleaning. And the next thing is what? I want to cook the beans. Now, this cooking of the beans is where I'm doing my analysis. Guess what? If you are following me clearly, I've been able to talk about 4 steps in data analysis for what? Performing data analysis job. So, or for doing a particular project. The first thing you need to do is ask question, the business question. The next thing is get your data. Like I said, ask how you want the beans to be prepared. How do they want it? Next thing is what? Get a very good beans. So there's every tendency for you to get a beans that is not so good. We're going somewhere, just hold, but what? Work with me. Now, explore the data. While you explore the data, we get the beans. I'm like, oh, this is not the kind of white beans, no brown beans, oh, oloyin, whatever. But you're getting what? Trying to make sure you explore the beans to get what you need. The next thing is process the beans. Now, process that data, process the beans. You are cleaning data. Clean that data. Still the same thing as you trying to process the data. So now, while you clean this data, you begin to remove unnecessary things because in data cleaning, you have to remove some things. But still going there. Don't I have all of them on my slide, but I'm trying to get the story behind what I'm saying now. The next thing is what? Cook the beans. You're cooking the beans. You check. While you are cooking, some people have the method of how they cook beans for it to cook well, cook fast, whatever. And the next thing is what? Present finding. So now I just mentioned some data analysis process, step by step. Business question, get data, explore data, prepare data, or prepare data, yeah, or clean the data, analyze the data. Then the next thing, you present your finding. Now, after cooking the beans, the next thing is how do I want to garnish it? You want to make the beans just all right, after they've told you that this is how they want the beans, and you made the beans. Then the next thing you're trying to garnish, you want to put some leaves, some just to make it quite good. Oh, this person is very good. We like this. We can see what you are good at, what you do, that kind of stuff. So that way you'll be able to do what? Do a step-to-step guide on how you process your data. Now, back to this, packing your data backpack. Now, these tools are here not to just do the work. Yeah, they will do the work for you, but it's whatever you have or you understand about what you want to do on the data that would help you be able to use these things to your taste, to your perfection. So when you understand what you want to do on a data, you will be able to take these tools and do what? Find your way to create something interesting, something insightful, something data driven, and there you'll be able to what? Experience growth. So I don't know if everybody's with me before I go on. Okay, let me go on. Now, navigating the data maze. So I'm sure, like I said, there are processes which I've mentioned, and I'll repeat them again. In terms of data analysis, there are some guides, step-by-step guide you need to follow. Business question, it is very important. That question, it is very, very important because if you don't understand what you are trying to do, you will just go there, create something, looks correct to you, but it's not just the thing. So you need to understand that understanding the business question is important. Get the data, explore the data, process the data, analyze the data, and present your finding. Now, let's move. Navigating the data maze. I'm sure everybody's following what I'm saying. We're trying to tell a story using a jungle, talking about data. Importance of well-framed question. Framing your question is crucial. Well-framed question leads to insights. Avoid broad or unclear questions. Clarity and specificity matters to navigate the maze of data analysis. So when you're asking questions, you need to find it in a way to frame that question so well in order for you to solve the problem. Because while you are told to work on a project, the next thing is you asking a question that would help you get your answer. So exploring business scenarios. So what question will you ask in the business scenarios? Let's explore the part together. So if we're talking about exploring the part together now, so for example, I would want somebody to, probably somebody that's know about business, give us a kind of question that you feel like, as what I've said, as data analyst, what kind of question do you think you should ask, while you're trying to work in a business? So let me give an example. I have an ice cream shop, and, I'm trying to see why I'm not selling so well in a particular period of the year. And I called on to a data analyst, and I'm like, hello, data analyst, sales have not really been coming this period. And I'm talking about periods like September to December. And as data analyst, I'm called on to come and, help solve this problem, to come and see how I can get insight. Can somebody just tell me, what is that important question you feel I should ask? Whether one to two that I should ask the owner of the shop in order for me to carry on with whatever processes I need to do. Anybody?
Um, you can ask questions like, is that how sales usually are that period, or any irregularities before that period that the person noticed?
Okay, thank you very much. That's very, very good. That's very, very good. Any other person before I move on, or before I just speak on what we have said? Okay, I think just one. So yes, you are very correct. Like I said, I purposely gave a specification between September and December. They are not really selling. So on with what you just said now is asking what has happened. Okay, how much have you been getting for some particular period? How much are you getting now? So as data analyst, you can be like, oh, you're not selling ice cream as you were selling before. Oh, probably because students are on holiday, that's why they are not getting to just come over to, like, buy this thing. Because you, in terms of, before you say stuff like that, you are like, oh, who are your main customers? Who are the people you sell to most? Who are this or that? So before I move on, I would like to bring in this. So I'm sure a lot of us, we know Indomie, the brand, and the noodles. Most times when you go out there, you're buying different flavors. We have that of the onions, we have that of the oriental. We have different. Now, I looked at it at some point in time. Why are they standing out? Why are they out there? Why are they, is there any data analysis and data analyst working for them, or, doing finding insights on how they can get bigger and expand? Because I can remember at a particular time when, they make adverts about children singing songs, saying the differences in the taste, this, and, the next thing is then bringing out flavors that, most people are interested to, like, buy. They want to eat it, they want to check it out, because literally they are one of the best. So how are they getting to understand this is how they can satisfy us? So it goes a long way. But then let's, look at our time and try to move on. Panning for data gold. Now, time to explore diverse data sources. If you could remember, I talked about, getting to understand the business. Very important. That's why we say navigating a data maze in this slide. This next slide, we're talking about, the source data that we're trying to work with. So when you want to explore data sources, there are actually types of data we have. We have structured data and unstructured data. We're talking about structured data. Structured data are data that are already in a way you can easily access them. What are we talking about? Most times, we put in data into our tools and they are appearing in terms of table. Some of us get some files. You are seeing .csv, .tsv, .x XS, LS, CXV is just telling you this data, it is comma separated. That's why I say comma separated what? Value. They are structured. TSV, tab separated. So there are a lot of data that are just structured by, space. They are structured by commas. They're structured by tab. They are structured by column. They're structured by semicolon. So now, because they are structured in that way, it is easy for us to put them into our tool. Probably we're working with Excel. Excel has a way we get data in terms of how they are structured, and we work with them. So when we talk about structured data, it's easy for us to just input them, into our tool, and they are coming to us into a table form, because the tool itself has easily recognized that, oh, this data is structured by this way. But we're talking about unstructured data. These ones are data that are together, they are just, you can't even understand how they are structured. They just clumps together, they are just all together. But there are ways we also work with data like this, because there are sometimes we have data in JSON, whereas we use, programming languages to try to put them into a structured data, where we get them from the database. Where I mentioned something that time, I said SQL, structured query language. You work with a structured data, query it. Then we have some semi or unstructured kind of tool that would help you work with an unstructured data. So it's quite in a diverse way. Whereas you'll be able to see how you source for your data, and when you see this data, you know how you work about it in order for you to get good insight. Collection method, that sometimes you get data from survey, from web scraping, from API. We're talking about survey. A lot of us get to create something like Google Forms, send it out, collect data, web scraping, going into a particular web, and you are collecting data from the internet, from the web, where you try to script. And we're talking about tools that we use. Tools as even Excel can help you get data from the web, but you're not scraping it. And we're talking about tools we use to scrape data. We're talking about Selenium, Beautiful Soup, why we use programming language to get all this. I'm talking about APIs too. A lot of people use some social media APIs to analyze data, get some insights. E.g., we're talking about Twitter API, and we look at ethical consideration. Protecting personal information as we gather data is very, very important, because you should not get access to somebody's data and you should not get to protect it. So that's why it is important, when you have access to some data, you should be able to make sure you are using it and making sure it is protected. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So these are things we need to understand when we're working in the data field. Polishing the data diamonds. If you look at it, all the processes I mentioned from the beginning, while we're talking about, being a chef, cooking, are actually what I'm still digging deep into. Now, polishing data diamonds, data cleaning, it is very essential. It is very essential, because while you are cleaning data, you must identify issues like missing values, outliers, inconsistency. Every data must, be in the form of a row and column, and every row must be complete and every column must also be complete. Whatever column you are having must be unique. Whatever we are having in each rows must also be what? Unique. So it's important for us to check out missing values, because when you analyze data and you don't check out missing values, you find yourself, getting to put out things that are not going to give what good insight. So it's actually a crucial step in data analysis. Most times, a lot of analysts say 70% of your time to clean data, 30% to do what else you want to do. So data cleansing is very, very important, because it involves you checking those inconsistencies, correcting and removing them, and it actually helps to ensure quality and reliability of the data. Because if you don't do that, you are not going to be giving us good information out there. And that's why you say sometimes data is what? Raw facts. The next thing is doing what? When it's processed, it gives you what? Information. So what are the cleaning techniques we use? Filling these gaps, using some statistical ways to do that too, in terms of using mean media to sort out when you have missing data. Handling outliers. What do we mean by outliers? So we have a group of a group of students in a class, where we expect that in a class as students in grade 5, you have to come to school with about 500 naira. So everybody is coming with 500 naira, but we have like 2 to 3 students coming with 10,000 naira. What's going on? Because when you get to figure that, the next thing is like, data analysts come, can you get to know the average amount of money the students are bringing to classes? And the next thing, you take all the gather the data, get all these things, get the average, and the next thing you are seeing probably up to like 30,000 as the average, and you're like, what's going on? Wow, why do we have this so much? But then the reason why that average is so much like that is because of the outliers there. Because if you don't get to see how you handle those outliers, it gets to influence your decision on how you get to say, we've gotten to understand that most of our students here come in to the class with an average amount of 500 naira. Because let's say in terms of, when there's an issue in terms of, some students are having missing money in classes and they're trying to just investigate and the lot. But then, getting to see that 30,000 feels like, whoa, what's going on? If you don't get to understand how this money gets to come about that way, you will not be able to give out correct value. So handling outliers are very, very important. So what are those outliers among the students? Those students that are coming in with 10,000, because by the time you put their money together with the other ones and get an average, it will influence your decision. And before you know, you think it's the right thing, but it's the wrong thing. So you must be able to identify them, and you are ensuring consistency. Impact: cleaning decisions significantly influence analysis quality. Cleaning decision significantly what? Influence analysis quality. And that's just us talking about data cleaning in a nutshell. So moving on. But before I move on, do I have anybody that wants to, say anything, or I have a question I just dropped and wants me to just attack that immediately before we move on? Okay, I think
There is
I'm
no
good to go.
question.
Please, can you give another
Okay.
I didn't get that. I didn't get
example
that.
for the
It's
Ah,
like a
the line.
network is.
outliers?
Yeah, I
Can
didn't get
you
what you
type the
just said.
message?
Please, can you ask again?
Type the message in the group. Type the question in the group.
Okay. So while I wait for that, let me move on. So mapping the data territory. Mapping the data territory. So let's discover the landscape of data. We talk about descriptive statistic, surveying the land. Descriptive statistic, surveying the land. Or we'll talk about descriptive. Another way you can call it is to describe or to summarize raw data. To describe or to summarize raw data. So, for example, I'm sure a lot of us, while we're back then in, probably secondary school or university, they talk about statistics and a lot of like, God, I hate maths, I hate statistics, I don't want to stress my brain. But then sometimes they come in for you in terms of data analysis, because you need to find a way to understand how you would solve a particular problem, in ways of saying, how do I get to summarize this data? How do I get to describe it? And how do I make it interpretable? So it involves you analyzing historical data to understand what has happened in the past. So I get a particular data, and the next thing is me trying to use it, to understand what has happened in the past. Guess what I said? It involves analyzing historical data to understand what has happened in the past. And this type of analysis, we're talking about descriptive statistics. What does it help you do? It helps you to identify patterns and trends over time. It helps you to identify patterns and trends over time. So, for example, an example of this kind of what we use in descriptive statistics, we're talking about you saying the mean. Tell you to find the average amount you have been making in a particular company for the past years, for the past year, and the next thing we're trying to see is, for them to tell you to do that as an analyst, the next thing is, I'm going to use the function mean to do what? To get the average amount of sales that we have every month for like a year. So when they tell you to do that, you're trying to, okay, we're surveying this land, and with that, you'll be able to do what? Be able to get to describe and be able to like talk about how this business might have grown. Do they get low sales? Do they get high sales? Have they been moving, or have they been just stagnant? Have they been, why you do a descriptive statistic is to help you survey that land, just as we have said. And the next one I'm talking about is correlation analysis. Correlation analysis, discovering hidden parts. So when you're talking about correlation analysis, you're talking about how does this particular data, how do they correlate? A sweet one I get to, a particular method I get to use in terms of correlation, talking about regression analysis. When you use regression analysis to find hidden parts. So for example, you are having data on you and you have different columns. So you're trying to see how a particular column influence one column. How is it dependent or it is independent? You're talking about, you trying to, discover this hidden part. So for example, we're trying to ask, or we're trying to know if the if the how will I put it? If, for example, the a particular year in Nigeria, how the death and birth rate has influenced some things in Nigeria. how do you get to see you? The next thing you want to do is to find how they correlate. And in terms of correlation, one thing you're trying to do most times is trying to see you find the relationship. Is there anything relating to it, or you're trying to find the difference? So you're talking about correlation analysis. You are just using that medium, or you're doing the analysis to discover hidden paths. So now we talk about data visualization, creating accessible maps. We're talking about data visualization. It is very, very important, because data visualization is what helps you as data analyst to what? To give out the information you've been able to discover. Because why? The first thing you're trying to do is to what? Dish out a data-driven, give decision that is what is data-driven. And the next thing is what? Provide insight. So now, for you to provide the insight, I don't have anything. I don't know anything about your skill. I don't know anything about what you do. But I want to see something that I'll be able to do or understand and say, oh, so this is what have happened. That's when you begin to look at chart like bar charts, histogram, column charts, pie charts, all these things. If get to remember, some of all these things are things we get to do those times in mathematics, and like they just tell you solve this. Maybe for example, you're trying to find a particular percentage of a pie chart, and they're saying you use the formula degree over 360 times 100, whatever, in order for you to find this. These are things that we can be able to, when we know the correct visualization, we'll be able to do what? Tell a story with that visualization. So for example, I could remember on Twitter one time like that, when Jam released a particular report about students that passed, that got more than 200, the one that got lesser, and they dropped it in a particular visualization. And a lot of people attacked that. Whoa, see the whole Jam giving this kind of visualization, why they had a pie chart that was more than 100%. My God, sometimes using the right chart is very, very important to give somebody that is not technical and a result about your analysis, and it's easy for them to understand what you are talking about. So data visualization is very, very important. An example I can talk about is, for example, I said a business is trying to know their average monthly sales they've had for a year. Now, the kind of chart you should be using in that kind of place is a line chart. Why? Because the line chart goes in terms of time. You are having the year down, you are having whatever you are trying to check the difference in terms of monthly sales and the average monthly sales and the time. So we are talking about in the month of January we made so amount, because we get to use some data labels or data points in the month of February. So using a line chart will give you a trend of how the sales has been going, whether it has been going up and down. So I don't need to start explaining too much to a non-technical person that this is what is happening, because instantly the person can see the line going up and down, zigzag or whatever. It's easy for them to understand it. So data visualization is very important too. Moving on from numbers to narratives, still under data visualization. So when you transform data into compelling visuals, you are translating this data into visuals. It is the importance of effective communication. So when you get numbers and you put them into a story, it's easy for people to see this thing and get to like, oh wow, I'm impressed. You get this when you show a chart, you don't need to say too much, but then you are able to communicate what you found. See, like I said, choosing the right chart type is very, very important. Choosing the right chart type is very, very important. For example, it is very, very important that you should know that when you're trying to do a difference in terms of, okay, how many males do we have in this office? Maybe you're trying to get a complete analysis of the total number of employers we have in terms of gender, total numbers of employers we have in terms of gender. The first thing you're looking at is, I get all their informations, I get the number and the count, I try to present them. I can present them on a pie chart, because when I present them on a pie chart, I have just male and female. And guess what? I'm getting to understand that we have how many percent of male, how many percent of female just on this pie chart. That's you trying to pick up the right charts to do what? To give clarity of how these employers are in the company. So it is very, very important to do what? Choose the right chart. Principle of visualization. Sometimes you make insights accessible. So for example, when you're visualizing your data, it's very good to also pick up a good color in terms of what color am I using? Not like you're using red here, you're using blue here, you're just it's he correlating? Is he looking so appealing that I don't even have to stress myself, but I can easily understand what I'm seeing in the chart on the dashboard or however it is. But then you being a data detective is you picking up numbers to being what turn them to what narrative. So before I move on, again, somebody was trying to ask question that time, but it didn't come. So can you say it now? Or I move on. Okay, let's move on.
Hello, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear
Now, I
you
was
now.
asking that you should please shed more light on the hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can
Now,
hear
I
you.
was
Please
saying
go on.
you should shed more light on the outliers. I
Outliers.
said you should shed more light on the outliers.
Okay,
Yes,
very
sir.
good. So when you're talking about when you're talking about an outlier, so it's more like an observation that is like quite abnormal, from the way you look at things when you perform, a sampling to something. So I gave an example that time about students. So for example, let's say I want to start a business and I went to a particular area and I'm saying, oh, let me try use a data analyst. And I call a data analyst. I say, oh, I want you to help me go to a particular area and take a survey about the monthly income each family or each persons gets there. So as a data analyst, the next thing I did was, okay, I went there, collected information. Why did the person call me? The person wants to start a business, but he's looking, should it be a kind of business that can be started there? Is it a business that can happen there or a business that should not happen there? So you're talking about, sometimes if you look at terms of in Nigeria now, most times you get to see banks in a place that is quite very good. If the road is quite bad, you find it hard to see banks there. Before banks come into a particular area, they tend to look at times of roads, time to look at times of probably the environment too. So now after collecting the data, I was able to see that most people from this particular place, I got the data. I didn't bother about outliers. I just got it and I was able to put it together. And the next thing was me getting to understand that in that particular area, we have a sum of 10 million that's being generated by like some individuals are taking as their monthly salary. 10 million. So when I take that in information, or when I take that answer to my clients, and the client says, oh, 10 million, wow, that's a lot. I can start my business. What kind of business does this person want to start? Maybe selling of electronics like washing machines, and TVs and the rest. Because of that fact, you feel like, okay, sales might come in because he tried to involve a data analyst. But on the long run, he saw that my data analyst, this is 2 years here now. The only thing I've been able to sell is like two stuffs, and they're not even from this area. They're from people I know outside this area. Then you begin to call, hey, analyst, could you come? Well, you said this, but this is not what I am finding here. Then you begin to understand that there were some people that were out of that average value that we took. There were some people that were earning more in terms of maybe 2 to 3 people that were earning large amounts. But then because you didn't observe that, you packed them together and got the average income that is people get in from that particular area every month. So now the outliers there are those people that are earning high, because probably you got to figure out that there were 3 people there that were earning close to like 5 million, 10 million. And literally the real people, that the real income that's coming, the trend, the average you could literally see was most people tend to take an average income of 200, 100K, like that. So because of those 3 to 2 people that were earning that much income, it's brought about, you know, invalid answers because they are standing as outliers. So you outliers are just like, data points that goes outside the average values of a particular group of statistics you've taken. So when you did a sampling and you collected that thing, it's influenced the decision you make because you didn't get to observe it, that there were some outliers there. So in order to do that now, sometimes it's either you get to undo the outliers in terms of either removing it, or you time to see how you could put a way to solve it in terms of it not influencing the data in an higher side and it's not the correct thing. So I don't know if I've been able to touch that outlier and explain to you well. Okay, I think
Mr.
so.
Gift, are you cleared now? Maybe his network is disturbing, so you can go ahead.
Okay. So
Yes,
moving
I'm
on.
cleared. Thank you.
Okay, okay. So moving on, unlocking data ancient secrets. Unlocking data ancient secrets. Now, what are we trying to say here? We're trying to talk about diving into some advanced analysis, into some advanced analytics. So we are talking about predictive modeling. This is you peeking into the future. Yeah, we do that in terms of data analysis. You're talking about cluster analysis. You're talking about time series analysis. So when you're talking about predictive modeling, you are trying to do analysis you using statistical models to forecast. So in Power BI, we have a way you can forecast sales for like maybe after doing some analysis and you're trying to like forecast sales that you expect that might potentially happen in the next 2 to 3 months. Yeah, it's very, very possible. This is you trying to go into the future. So when you're talking about predictive modeling or predictive analysis, this is you trying to use statistical models and forecasting techniques to understand the future. So it involves you using data from the past to predict what could happen in the future. So for example, my football, if you have people that are into football like that, it's easy for most people to say, oh yeah, I'm running FPL, yes. And I could remember that last season Alan was scoring great goals. He was part of the top scorer, where we have Cole Palmer, we have Alan as first. Cole Palmer was following. It is easy for people to say, oh, if Alan can cook well this period, why he's going to score more goals next season. Yeah, I'm saying that in a layman way, but when you're talking about predictive analysis, this is you using a data from the past to predict what could happen in the future. And this type of analysis they actually used in risk assessment, marketing, sales forecasting. So yeah, as data analyst, yeah, you can easily get a data and they say, okay, perform an analysis with this, after you've done your descriptive analysis, and the next thing you're trying to see if you can predict. So you're predicting, okay, with what we've had, with what we've gotten for this year, we expect that next year we should be able to, take this. So if you have get to like work with some marketing people, they tend to tell you that we have a target to meet for this particular year, because as at the target they met last year gave them a way to predict that next year they should be able to make more, because they've been able to find a way to predict how they can make more in the coming year. So also we have cluster analysis, like I said, grouping similar artifacts. So when talking about cluster analysis, this is you using a group of set of objects in such a way that objects, you put this object in the quite same group, and when you put them in this quite same group, you're using it to, you use them most times in market segmentation, you use them in image segmentation, recommender system. Now let me give a good example of this recommender system, because I could remember one time I jumped on a project like that, but it was looking so much of machine learning, so I just ran, but I was able to get the information. It's something that can be worked on too as a data analyst. So for example, most times you see most of us go on YouTube, we go on Instagram, we go on Facebook, and the next thing is you find yourself watching a particular set of videos. You just watch one and you watch two, and the next thing when you go outside, the next thing when you get there or you stay on it, that's why most times you see some people saying, TikTok too addictive, Instagram too addictive. Why? Because it's easy for them to be able to see that, oh, this person has watched this kind of video. One, two. The next thing is what? Bring in another video for you to watch that is in line with what you've watched. And you obviously that they've been able to predict that, we know he's watching, you enjoy it before you know, the time is all gone watching same videos in a different way, and you are enjoying it. Why? Because they've been able to do what? Get to analyze this thing and put them into a group. So that's one way of me explaining cluster analysis. What are we trying to do here? We're unlocking data ancient secrets. Now, we also have time series analysis. This is you decoding patterns across time. Decoding patterns across time. Which when I talk about time series analysis, this is you trying to do is use statistical technique to deal with time series data or trend analysis. When you're trying to analyze a sequence of data points to extract meaningful statistics and other characteristics of data. So, for example, we are trying to do that of sales forecasting, or trying to do that of economy forecasting, or trying to do that of weather forecast. So, a lot of us, you see that sometimes it's easy for us to say, oh, check our weather forecast. They're like, oh, rain might fall in this or that or that. Yeah, we're using time as what we've had before to now do what? Predict or get to forecast how other ones that to come are going to work. So, yeah, I said, which techniques will you choose to solve a data problem? vote in our choose your algorithm activity. But let's move on, and I hope you are writing down your questions and waiting for me to, attend to them. So moving on, the rise of the AI oracle. You know, like I said, we started with the jungle, and we're able to like see how you could relate being in the jungle and how you could survive there with a little bit of this data set. So we are talking about the rise of the AI oracle. Most people these days are saying, AI will replace us, blah blah. No, what you should be bothered about is you letting somebody that knows AI to replace you, because AI would not do the work. Yeah, it's somebody who knows how to make use of AI that would do the work for you. Yeah, AI might be doing the work in some places, but it can't do all it because it still needs you that can use it well to do the work. So explore AI roles in data analysis. So we have AI, we have machine learning, and their growing impact on data. They are growing impact on data analysis, which is the AI and machine learning. These days we have AIs like ChatGPT, Bard, Gemini, like that. They help you to easily find a way to see how you can do analysis in a way that you'll be able to get more insights from it. And it's not that they will help you do the analysis. They will not. They cannot. It's you that a data analyst that will be able to say, okay, I want to do this and do that, and help you find a way to do what make good decisions, support you. And also their potentials and limitations, understanding the balance is very, very important. So, and in human interpretation, still essential in the process. So what question will you ask about AI oracle, about the future data? So sometimes you're trying to do one or two things and you don't know how you get about it. You ask AI sometimes, oh, I'm trying to get data, this. Oh, okay, I'm trying to work this. How do you think I go about this? Sometimes it help you. There are sometimes you could be having a bug in your code where you're using tools like Python and R to write and to do analysis, and you're finding it not running, and you're trying to like decode or see why you have a bug. So AI sometimes can help you debug this thing. If you don't put it well in the right way, you might not be able to do it well. So, but then the rise of AI is just to help us, do our work fast, help us do it more clean, and help us to find a way to figure out ways we can go about analyzing these things and getting more insights. And that data can fire. Data can fire. So as data analyst, you need to tell compelling stories with your data. Crafting a narrative, structure is key. Relevance, making it resonant with the audience. Actionable insight, encourage decision making. So for example, as a data analyst, you are to be able to use that's why it is your thing, that's your role. If you could remember, there you're a detective, come pick up this data. You need to. So that's why I had to use an example of the chef, calling the chef to come and do this to help us make everything all good, for us to just consume it. And that's what most times the manager, CEO, stakeholders, clients, they just want to see what you've done. They are not interested in seeing so much numbers, but then use these numbers to tell them stories. So that's why it's not compelling or good sometimes to just just put a number on the table and just dishing it out there. What can you say with this number? What are those insights you've got? And you'll be able to use it to tell us that, okay, this is how this thing is. This is what you see. This is how it goes. So it is very, very important that you should be able to use data to tell a compelling story as a data analyst. Participate in our collaborative tales. Let's build a data story together. Now, what are those things that are for data storytellers? What are those toolkits? So, best practice for effective data presentation: know your audience. So, when you know the people you are trying to present to, you should know how you tailor your messages. Focus on so what? What is the takeaway? Make visual work hard. Don't just cluster your message. Make it simple. Make it straightforward. Don't make it complex. No, you, the data analyst, you are picking that data in probably looking complex to make it simple. Most times I used to say, getting to understand math or getting to do math is not just to make things quite complex. It's actually to make something complex what simple. So as a data analyst, you should be able to get this data and be able to put it so well that I don't need to start stressing myself to say, what is this here? I don't understand. No, I can see this, and by the time you are explaining to me, or even when you send it to your audience and they can see it, is easy for them to say, okay, everybody gather around, let's have a meeting, this and this and this and this. So let's improve data presentation examples in teams. So it's important for us to know our audience, focus on the so what, make visuals work out. Don't cluster your messages. data city of tomorrow. Yeah, data city of tomorrow. This is where I want to talk about some particular roles too in terms of the data world. We have um roles like data analysts, we have roles like data scientists, and we have roles like data engineers. And you're talking about data scientists, these people tend to use more they are proficient in programming language like Python or statistics, and they have good knowledge of Python or R. They have good knowledge of statistics, probabilities. They're familiar with machine learning algorithms, because most times when we look at the data of a thing, when we data scientists are more like the combination of like data analysis and machine learning together, because most time they use this machine learning tools to like algorithms, to predict some things for us to be able to use, to tell us what we should expect, to tell us why something is like this, why this event is like this, why these numbers are like this. So they are very, very proficient in some of these key skills, and they are able to communicate complex data insights in a clear and understandable manner. So, like I said, they are familiar with Python, R, SQL, you know, data visualization libraries like Matplotlib, Seaborn, machine learning library like scikit-learn, TensorFlows. Yeah, they do that. I also have data engineers. We're talking about data engineers. These are the people that pick up data and build it for us. That's one of the things they do. They are the ones that are into this big data kind of thing. That, when I talk about big data, we're expanding territories. When we say big data is actually changing the way we do business and it's creating a need for data engineers who can collect large and manage large quantities of data. So data engineers, they are actually like, they help us design and build a system for collecting and storing and even analyzing data at scale. So it's actually very broad, because as data engineers, what do? They work in varieties of settings, and what they do, like I said, is to build systems. When they build these systems will be able to collect, will be able to manage and convert raw data into usable information for data scientists and business analysts or data analysts to interpret. So those are literally what data engineers do. So those data we get to use, where we get to analyze as data analysts or data scientists, that we get to use machine learning models on. Data engineers are the ones helping us to build a system that will be able to collect this data, in a way that they will be able to convert it to raw data for us to use. And that literally what they do. And some of what they do and why they are working, they get to acquire data set that align with the business needs. So in a company where we have this data engineer, the work the data engineer is doing is different from what the data analyst is doing. When the data engineer acquire data set that align with its business need, they develop algorithms to help us, transform these things. And when they've built this thing, they also create the ways that they create data validation methods for us and ensure that there's compliance with data governance and security policies. So it's important to know that in the data city of tomorrow, we have futurist trends in data analysis, and it awaits us in terms of the AI and automation changing the landscape, big data expanding territories, real-time analysis, softening data wave. And which trend will you have the most significant impact, both in our time traveler prediction activity? Moving on, join the data hall of fame, become a data hero. What are you supposed to do? As a data analyst, you should be a data hero in terms of you getting to get data and do what, and give insights in order for companies, organizations to make what, data-driven decisions. Data-driven decisions. So now, another thing we need to do is create lasting change that uses what, data. When we get to use data to do some of the things we do, we get to see that we get to have growth and continuous learning. A lot of things keep changing every day, so we need to keep what, getting and stay updated. We need to keep getting and stay updated, in order for us to be part of how things are going to make what, it's easy for us to do that of analysis and the rest. A data adventure awaits. Key lesson learned, I'm sure, and I want to say that we have spoken, we have been able to know what who a data analyst is, what data analysts do, their processes step by step, the career parts, the analysis they get to take, the analysis they get to do, the way they get to ask questions, the way they are problem solvers, critical thinkers, and some of all these things are things I expect us to have been able to look at. And also, we need to keep exploring data and applying what we've learned in order for us to solve problems out there, help organizations grow, help business grow. And also, if we feel like we want to learn data analysis and we need where to go, there are so many resources online in terms of Udemy, in terms of Coursera, in terms of data camp, where is easy for you to find a way to deep dive or dive deeper into the world of data. Thank you. I know simplicity is the true essence, is the essence of true wisdom. When you get to go into the data world, make sure you understand the basic, embrace it, get to see why we are in this particular line, why we use this tool, what is important for me to understand in order for me to solve problem. And before you know, you're solving problems for organizations and helping them grow. Ask me anything. So that will be the end of our data talk. And if you have any question, let it come in now.
Okay, so what are like some of these tools, and how do they influence the way this work goes on? Like I like
Okay.
now, like like you mentioned Excel, you mentioned SQL, but like what are the, like you said Excel now used for bar charts and things like that. But what of SQL, Python? What are their function in all these data analysis and
Okay, thank you very much. I'll start with that. So when you talk about Excel, Excel is not just to just show for visualization. Excel is actually also good to analyze data. You can use Excel to, answer questions. Like it's more like your tool. You're using it to cook. So you can clean data in Excel. When you get your data into Excel, you clean it. You perform analysis in Excel. When you take your data in Excel, you look at it, try to identify, okay, let me explore the next thing you want to clean. There are functions in Excel that help you clean. We have Power Query in Excel that help you do some of this cleaning in Excel. Then you visualize with charts too. Also, we have Power BI. Power BI is more like a visualizing tool, very good for visualizing. That's why it's Power BI, business intelligence. So very good for visualizing. Aside Power BI, we have Tableau. They help you for data visualizing. It's not like you can't clean in them too, but because in Power BI, we also have Power Query, which help us to clean as it is in Excel too. So, but then it's mainly and very, very good for you to visualize the data that you have analyzed in order for you to go out, give an insight on it. They talk about SQL. SQL as it is more, like I said, a structured query language. SQL as it's called, and it's a standard language for managing and manipulating database. When you have database, this is where you go to store data, where you have vast amount of data. So when you use SQL, you want to write a language for you to retrieve or manipulate data stored in that SQL databases. And SQL is actually essential for you, to manipulate data, for you to also manage data. So I have a data in database. It is up to me or my data engineer to say, okay, pull up the data for me. But even as an analyst, I can pull out the data myself. So if I understand that and I know the kind of data I want to use when I have a database, I can just go there and pull it out, write the languages. That's why it's called SQL. And I don't know if I've been able to answer that.
Mr. Gift, are you cleared now? If you are, just let us know. Wow.
yes,
Okay. Wow. 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 Wow.
yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sir Timi. Thank you so much. Wow. Wow. My eyes are open to many things this night. Like, it's no longer the way I've been seeing data analysis that I'm seeing it now. Like, okay, sir. We are still in the question session. So if you have questions, you can still bring it on. But then, sir, I have a few questions to ask. Okay.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. The first one is this. Most of us here are graphic designers. Like, will I say 95% of us here? I've gone through our profile, found that most of us here are graphic designers. So, do you think we can like manage the two career? Like even as a designer, I can also be doing data analysis. I can also be a data analyst.
Yes, it's very, very possible. Very, very possible. Why? That's you knowing how you are in terms of, how you take skill. So, for example, you are a graphic designer and you know your work well. Obviously, you keep upskilling by telling to, like, get to see things and you learn it. But while you are doing that too, you can also get to pick up data analysis and say, okay, yeah, I want to learn it. Yeah, I want to have it as a skill. Very, very possible. Because you being a graphic designer would even give you an edge in order for you to know how you put in your colors in terms of visuals. Yeah, all you need to know is that, okay, there are some things I need to know how to do in terms of, okay, understanding statistics, understanding how I use the tool, getting to know how I will be able to think critically, getting to know how I'll be able to solve problem with data. But yeah, as a graphic designer, is you can be a data analyst too, because sometimes you might just need to know some very, very key information, and before you know, you are giving data, and the next thing is you just going online there to research. Yeah, and as a data analyst, you must be very good at researching, because you need to start asking questions. When you've gotten questions to answer, you need to now find a way to see how you can answer your question. You get to, and sometimes you want to use some tools, some syntaxes, or some formulas, and you don't know how you go about it. You go on the internet, try to, research, try to find out you can find a way to solve the problem that you have at hand. So, but then as a graphic designer, yeah, you can also be a data analyst, getting to learn the skill that is quite required for you to learn.
Okay, okay, okay. Wow, wow, wow. So I had interest before, but then what brought me back was the idea, like the perception I had about it. But now I've gotten another perception about it. So I think I might I might give it a try. Okay.
No problem. You're always welcome to the world of data.
No problem, sir. So I have another question.
Yeah.
So the question goes like this: how do you communicate insights and findings to non-technical stakeholders? Like
Okay. Yeah, go on.
I
Okay.
think you get the question.
Yes, I do.
Okay,
Good.
okay.
Very good. Now, non-technical stakeholders. So one thing you should understand is, before you were called to come and work on a particular data or to work on a particular project, you'll have asked so much questions of what you want to do for that particular project you are requested to do. So while you have asked those questions, now it's those questions that would guide you on how you will get answer to them. But you getting answer to them is not you coming to give us complex maths formulas or complex. We want to see answers. We want to see charts that is easy for me to just look at, and I understand that, oh, this is just me seeing that, oh, these are the trends. So I gave an example that time saying, what if you are told to find the average monthly sales in a particular company for a particular year? Yeah, you're using a chart called line charts. Yeah, because when you use that line chart, you begin to see that the places that they had low sales for that particular month, obviously, goes down. The places they have high sales goes up. If it's the middle, you see it. So it's easy for you to see, as a non-technical person, that, oh, at this point, this is what we had. And data labels, quite important. Data labels, you put in the amount that was made for that particular month. They probably, as it goes up and down, close to it. And when somebody that is non-technical gets to see that chart, it's easy for them to understand. And how do they get to understand more? Tell a story with it. So you are telling a story, say, oh, according to analysis made, it has been shown that from the month of January, we had a 30% increase from what we had before. And when we got to the month of February, we got down a little to 20%. And, while you are saying that, it's easy for you to now start backing it up with some things that might have caused that decrease, probably because at a particular month, we're not able to do so much publicity about this particular thing we're trying to sell out, or we're not able to get access to resources to produce more, or we're not able to, things like that are what you try to look at in terms of you trying to explain to somebody that's not technical, because they won't want you coming to show them just numbers and they have to start cracking their brains to see how they can understand what you are telling them to do, or they have to start cracking their brains or asking, what does this mean, what does this mean? Because when you have been able to present or tell a story with your data, it will be easy for you and it will be easy for them because they ask you less questions. And by the time they are even asking you questions, they're just telling you, oh, this is really nice. So you mean stuff like that. So your visualization, how you prepare it, says a lot about how you tell your story. Yeah.
Oh wow, 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 wow. I've gotten a word. Your visualization tells a lot about how you your visualization tells a lot about how you tell the story. Wow. That's so great. Hmm. It's even pointing to me as a graphic designer. Wow. Thanks so much, sir, for that. So I think I have one last question before we go
Okay.
for tonight. And the question is like, is there a particular you've told us about sites where we can go get courses, do you think there's any particular place that we can source for clients, monetization and the rest?
Yes, yes. Now, in terms of the courses, like me, I would say, like, ever since I started analysis or I went to the world of data, I think more of everything I did in terms of learning were actually online, getting to follow up groups where they drops, discounts, prices, because I'll say I don't think I've even get to pay for, some courses where I get to run because I get to see that the internet is quite very wide and you can easily get courses. So sometimes when they drop some links saying, okay, some people want to give scholarships to some people to learn this particular skill, yeah, I'm there. I can remember when they were talking about Audacity, where I participated in another degree, it came in and I was like, oh, I took my chances. And so we have places where even on Twitter, there are some people that drop courses with coupon codes where you can easily get that course for free. And we have places like data camp, like I mentioned, data camp very good for data stuff because it's more like as you are learning, you are also doing it. You're getting to work with it and stuff like that. Yeah, there are some times where we have I4Gs, that's Ingressive for Good, where they give out free access to data camp. Allow you participate in some courses, get certified and stuff like that. We also have I remember I did side hustle too, where they give access to some of this. So you have Udemy, you have Coursera, there's even this Google Data Professional Data Analytics certificate where you get to go on Coursera, do some financial aids, and you get to start working on this course and stuff like that. So they are really, really out there and places where you can get information. And I'll say in the creative chat, there's a community for data analysis, and also I'll try as much as possible to always drop contents that are related to data and how we can just get to understand the world of data too. And in terms of money, get to work as a freelancer, we have that of Upwork, have that of Fiverr. Those are the two main ones I know of that are quite popular. But you need to know what you're doing and know how you work about your ways to be able to get jobs that build your portfolio, do projects, get to try and bring out that inner analyst of you bring it out, show that you understand this thing, you want to provide insight from data. Yeah, you're good to go. But then understanding is very, very key.
Wow, wow, wow. Thanks so much, sir, for that. I think another question just came into my head. Okay. But then you talked about getting well in your skill, getting well in your skill before you start sourcing for clients so that
Mm.
you get a lasting client, something like that. So, do you think there is any particular duration that, like, as a novice that I am now, like, I should study? Like, do you think there is any particular duration I should study before at least I can get better to start sourcing for clients? Do you think there is any
Okay.
particular duration?
Okay, to answer that, I'll say it's not until you are good or you are very, very good before you start sourcing out for clients. The thing is, you need to put your work out there. So, for example, I could remember when I started analysis too, anything I do, I did maybe a little, I learned something on Excel and I did a project about it. I put it on LinkedIn most times, so a lot of us use some, even at the point I could remember when I used Facebook, I put it there when I was writing article on R, when I was writing our language and did some projects, while I was working with it, learned some stuff, wrote about it, put it there, put the project out there because people see what you do every day. And the thing is, the more you do it, the more you get better. So with time, say you can do a first project and the next thing is you come back and be like, I did rubbish. Okay, you redo it again because as you are learning, you are growing in your skill. You are getting to know more. You're getting to know better. So the thing is, as you do, put it out there. It's very very important. Put it out there because when you are showing up every day and putting it out there, it helps you to be able to get who you get to work with, and get to see that, oh yeah, we've seen most of what you've done. It's easy for us to go to your LinkedIn and say, oh, this person has been doing this for this time. You create a portfolio for yourself, get it to have a place that you put your project, and people can easily go there to check out what you've done and stuff like that. So yeah, it's very important that as you are, in this part, as you are learning, build something. No matter how little it is, no matter how you feel like, this thing look like it's too, just do it. Put it there. People see how you grow. People see your growth. And the thing is, as you do, you keep growing. And before you know, somebody's reaching out to you and say, yeah, I've been seeing your work out there. You're very okay. Why don't you try to do this for me and stuff like that? Yes. So that's how it is.
Wow, 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 wow. So something stood out for me just now. Put it out there. Even as a graphic designer, even as a web developer, make sure you are putting something out there. You don't know who is your potential client. Yeah, put it out there. Okay, so very quick. Someone dropped a question. They said, what are the courses he took? That is you. The courses you took, the name and where to get them. So it's like the bro wants to be like you. So, sir, can you help us? The courses we
I would
took and
say,
where to get them.
I can't. Funny thing is, I can't really even, get to put down, remember some of these courses. But then I could remember that when I wanted to start, I started with YouTube, because when I wanted to learn Excel, I just, while in church that day, I was like, oh, you're taking this particular section for like some months, and I was like, oh, for real? I've not really got in so deep. So I went on YouTube, start watching some videos to like do some stuff about Excel. But then with time, I got opportunity to do get into Udacity to do data analysis, and that was when we're using programming languages like Python and some other, and SQL, yes. And it was more like a scholarship, so I was able to get in. And also there are some courses I've done on Udemy that I got through. I'll say most of these courses, I just get to get the information and boom, I pick it up. So I'm either using a coupon code to get free courses, and I'm learning. I just keep learning. So, but I'll say the one I did a particular Google course that's on Coursera, yes, Google Professional Data Analytics. Whereas I was writing financial aid. When I write it, I submit it. They give me access to one course, and I finish the course. Before I finish the course, I write another one, submit it, declare it. They give me another access to the course. And while you're doing those courses, you are also doing projects. I work with I did stuff like that. So, but then I got to get into Ingressive for good. That was even where I was able to learn R, where they were able to give me an access to use the courses there. So when I did the courses, when I was able to use these courses there, I was able to even understand R. And the thing about one thing you should also know about the languages are, it's easy for you to see the same thing while you are using different languages. So, for example, whether you're using Excel or you're using Python or you're using R, you begin to see that it's the same process you are using to do this analysis. Are the same thing you are using on these two. It's just that with time, you get to see the ones that is quite versatile for you to use and quite very, enjoying for you to use to analyze this data. But the thing is, like I say, whenever I see it, I grab it, I learn, do a program, do a project, put it out there, and yeah, I'm good to go. So that's what I'm going to say.
Okay, wow, wow, wow. So, sir, I don't know. The more we keep talking, the more questions keep coming to my mind. Thank God this is a short meeting. So, allow me to ask this question. So, like, as a novice, as a beginner like me, do you think there is any software I should start with, like
Yes,
whether it's
definitely.
Python?
Yeah,
Okay, sir.
definitely. I'll say as a data analyst, you should start with Excel. Excel, then you could literally like get to learn visualizing to like Power BI. Power BI, yes. Then also learn SQL. Why am I saying this? Is that when you are able to use Excel too, you can also visualize in Excel, yes. But when you learn Excel, it gives you a way to be able to understand what you're trying to do, make use of some functions to answer questions, and Power BI for your visualizing, it will help you sharpen your visualizing skill. Then SQL, for you to be able to take out data from database. So when you are able to do this, you can start looking into programming language, because the thing is, a lot of people actually just know Excel and they are living well there. But as we need to just get to know some things in order for us to be able to come through while we are asked to work on a particular project or stuff like that. Yeah, but starting with Excel is a very, very good idea for me. Yeah, because even as at now, we have some companies that they still use Excel so well. Some banks, some they are still on Excel, and they want somebody that can able to use Excel to help them get insights from their data. And yeah, they are good to go. That kind of stuff like that.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Wow, it's been a great night. 1 hour, 22 minutes of learning and value. Wow. I don't know if you are happy in the house, but if you are happy, can you just bond the group? Bond the group. Then, if you have questions, you can unmute your mic now and ask, or you can type.
Yeah, sure. Let me
But
just ask
then,
this question.
sir Gift, are you the one?
No, it's me.
No
Okay,
question, sir.
please, OGC, can you mute your mic? Your background is
Yeah, I
noisy.
just
Okay, sir Timi,
Yeah, I'm
you
here.
wanted.
I'm here.
Okay, you wanted to talk, right?
No. I thought somebody wanted to ask question. So.
Okay. So if you have questions, you can type it in the group, or you can unmute your mic. But then let's keep burning the group. I want us to board the group so that we will not see space to stay tomorrow. Well, my eye, we are open to a lot of things. Yeah, there are a lot of opportunities out there, but the things that we don't know. Okay, sir. Another question is here. You say, sir, is there a key difference between data analysis and data analytics? Wow. Did you get the question, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So when you're talking about data analytics, most times you get to see it as you get to want to see that something quite very, very different. But one way or the other, is not as so much different as that of data analysis. So when you're talking about when you're talking about data analytics as a whole, one way or the other, you're still talking about data analysis. You're still talking about data analysis. So if you're saying data analytics, you're still talking about whatever we need to talk about in data analysis is also what you want to talk about in data analytics, to my knowledge, because I can be called to come and perform a data analytic duty, even as the way I claim to say is data analysis. So for me, I would say it's quite not, there's like not so much different between analytics and analysis. But then if we get to look at it more, we look at analytics as it being quite very close to you saying business things. So you still use it to, it's still the same kind of thing when you're referring to analysis as a whole. So I don't see so much difference between analysis and analytics.
Okay. Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Let me give my own idea. Me, I would say it's just English grammar. Hey, but as well. The thing is, the more we go into this, the more we get to understand these things. Okay, sir, here's another
Definitely.
question. The question goes like this: does a data analyst have any role in marketing? If yes, what is the role of a data analyst? Wow, this was touched. Okay, sir.
Yes,
So you got the question
definitely.
right?
I mentioned. I'm. Yes, definitely. I
Yes,
mentioned
you
it
must say something like
that
that.
yes, that I was saying that for you to work in a marketing firm, as a data analyst, you would help them a lot, because you're going to be getting data. They have access to a lot of data. So when they have access to a lot of data, you as a data analyst, they tend to tell you, okay, this is data we have. We want to know how we get to get more income, or how we get to get more sales from what we have been doing and how we have been doing it. So the marketing, we also have teams where we have marketing teams, whereas when these people go to market, they tend to have clients they are working with, that they are, getting to deal with and whatever and the rest. So how you have gathered, or whatever way they have worked, or whatever they've been able to do for a particular month or for a particular year, you get to analyze it. And it's easy for you to say you are using predictive tools to now be able to tell them, oh, with what you've gotten now for us, with what you've been able to get this year, we expect that next year you should be able to meet this particular target. And even as you have done, it's easy for you to still be able to know whether this person was actually low in what they got, in what they were given to do, and compared to how you expect they will get. So yes, as a data analyst, yes, you are quite so useful in that particular field. Am I Was that clear? Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, you got the question right.
Yes, I did, and I was explaining that when you work, like I said it, like when you're working, in the accounting firm, or I'm sorry, the marketing firm, as a data analyst, you'll be a very useful tool to them, because as you are a data analyst for them, it's easy for you to get whatever data of what they got, because as a marketer, they give you targets. Most time they give you target. This is what you are going to give us. This is what you're going to bring. You have a lot of clients you are connected to, that you're helping them sort out what they are supposed to do. So whatever you are getting from those clients would be analyzed by the data analyst. And by the time I analyze it, I can easily use a predictive model to tell you that so time next month or next year, this is the amount we expect you should be giving. That's why it's easy for them to be giving targets either per month or per year.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Wow. Thanks so much, sir. Okay. The next person said, does that analyst have a role in cybersecurity? Like,
Cybersecurity. No, you as you can see, it's quite they are quite different field. When you're talking about cybersecurity, you are there to help us secure in terms of
yeah.
according to knowledge of cybersecurity, I know is to help us find a way to tackle fraudulent acts, protect sites or whatsoever like that about cybersecurity. So they are quite two different fields, and yeah, I'd say.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for that. The next question says, um, how how to apply data analysis in graphic design? Is there any?
Okay. Let me just see if I can try. So, like I'll say, if you're a graphic designer, you should be able to. You find it, easy to, as a graphic designer, you know that okay, these are the color combinations you're supposed to have while designing. So, while you are in terms of visualization, you'll be able to see how you can put your colors together. But I'm putting data analysis in graphic design, and it's still you trying to say, okay, let me use the processes of data analysis for my designs. Okay, what do I do before I do a design? I want to ask questions. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Ask question. The next thing is, where do I get inspiration? I mean, get things I want to use to design whatever my client needs. And after doing that, get to like explore to find a way to like put these things together. And the next thing is try to prepare it. Why prepare? Like I said, it's just me trying to use the process for analysis for their designing, but then it's obviously been a different way, because you as designers know how you get to find whatever you need to do to put your ideas together and all like that. Sure, that's it.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for that. Wow. So, the guy that talked about cybersecurity say, okay, so how do you protect data since it doesn't have any role to play? I don't know. I don't know where it's coming from.
Collecting data is you letting. So, for example, a lot of us have our informations on, like if you see Google now, Google actually has access to so many things, because a lot of us save our passwords there. We go on different sites and the rest. So they cannot give out your information like that, because it's against the rule of data protection. Your data will be protected. There are people that are working in that particular line. They're called data governance, or they try to make sure our data are protected. That's why sometimes there are some links they expect you not to click, because when you click a particular link, you're exposing your IP address to whatever, however, outside there, and then it's easy for somebody to easily tell you to take over your account or stuff, because you've exposed it. So you're talking about protecting data is you getting access to a data and you are keeping it well, because there are some confidential data that should be kept well in order for it not to get to places or people that it should not get to. So yeah, there are people that work so well in that. So and like I said, there are a lot of data analysts that while they work for a company, is they can't put out the data of that company outside. It's not possible. This is done inside there and this is done there. So you are working inside. So the only kind of data you meet outside there are data that are quite not useful, and data that we can replicate in terms of what we want to do, probably project and the rest like that.
Okay. Wow. Thanks so much, sir. Um. Okay. Another question. Lots of questions here. I think we just take three and then we go for tonight. So he said, does it mean a data analyst must do constant? Okay. Does it mean as a data scientist you must constantly move around physically for research? Like physically for research. Like
No,
maybe
you
when
no, you no, you don't have to do that. Like I said, data scientists, they are using that of the combination of data analysis and a little of machine learning. So when you can perform analysis, you know how you clean your data. When you've cleaned your data, you can now start to use machine learning models to work with whatever you're supposed to work with. So it's not you physically, it's just you knowing the process of how to go about this analysis, and after analysis knowing about how you use some models to solve whatever problems you want to solve. Yeah, that's just it.
wow. Okay, sir. Um okay. Papi, the question you dropped now, please you can watch the recorded session. This was tackled. You can watch the recorded session after this one. So let's just take the two questions from gifts so we can start going. So sir, the next question goes like this. Okay. How exactly does a startup data scientist or analyst build up his portfolio?
That's very good. Very, very good question. So how you build your portfolio is, like I say, if you go online, you begin to see that sometimes, like aside being a data analyst, we have some like niches of like analysts. We have financial analysts, we have business analysts, we have medical analysts, where we have the focus on anything that has to do with medicine. We have football analysts like that. So you are focusing on a particular thing. Do you want to do a project that has to fall in that particular field? Whereas you keep making research, try to get data, try to analyze, because before you analyze the data, you must know what you are analyzing about. So it's important for you to be a researcher as a data analyst, where you got to think well, know how you want to answer a question. So I can remember a project I worked on, a baseball project by the Indians. They play this cricket. Yeah, cricket. They play this cricket. They call it T20 or something. So I was able to look at it, and I wanted to work on that project, I had to go and start looking at understanding what cricket is all about. What do we mean by wins? What do we mean by wickets? What do we mean by all these things before I could solve in order for me to answer? So all these things are quite important for you to know that, okay, I want to do a project. What am I trying to tackle? What are those problems that are out there that they want to, that is needed to be solved? And I do it, I put it out there, and that's just it. So you just keep building as you get a project. You want to answer the question, you want to solve it, you want to, you know, give insights and make people see that, yeah, you're doing great on what you're working on and you understand what you're doing and you can explain it.
Wow, 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 wow. Ooh. If after this night, I will come and ask you how many of you went into data analysis. Okay, the last question before we go. So, also, does it mean as a data scientist you must constant wait? Okay, you repeated the question twice. So, okay, let's take Papi's question instead, since he repeated the question twice. Abi, wait. Okay, let's take Papi's question. Okay, Papi's question goes like this: How do data analysts gather his how do data analysts gather his or her data? Like, how do they gather their data? Where did they see that data?
Yeah. So, like I said, I'll say data analysts get to get access to the data they will use based on what's the project you're trying to work on. So, for example, if you are trying to build up portfolios, you have places like Cargill to get data from to work on portfolios. You have aside Cargill, we have um, some sites that I can't get to pinpoints now, but to work on a portfolio, you have places you can get data online. But if you are saying you are working in a company, yes, they will give you access to this data, or they tell you to source for the data that you try to get it through survey, or you want to use a particular API or something, or you want to scrape the web to get this data. So yeah, it depends on whatever you want to work with or work on.
Okay, okay. Wow, 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 wow. Thank you so much for sir for that. It has been an impactful session. Wow. I don't know whether anything stood out for you, but if there is anything that stood out for me, it was put it out there. Whether you think you are getting it, just put it out there. Make sure it's going out there. Sir, I want to use this opportunity to thank you so much for your time. We are not taking it for granted. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you
It's
so
also
much.
great to be.
Okay. And I have a few announcements to make. As he said earlier, he'll be dropping links. For us that are interested in data analysis, he'll be dropping links in the that creative insight hub, like for the group for data analysts. We have a group on WhatsApp for data analysts in the creative insights hub. So if you're interested in data analysis, you can join the group, so that once the link enters, you can be getting the bonuses and the coupons and be studying for free. We Africans, we like free things. Yes, I know you wouldn't want to miss it. So as once we are done, jejely rush to the group and enter. We give you free access. It's for free. So in the next 5 minutes, please, can we just thank our speaker? In the next 5 minutes, can we just thank our speaker? Oh, wow, wow, wow.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much,
so much.
sir, for today's session. It was okay. It was very impactful. You showed us the difference between data analysts, data scientists, and data engineers. I answered all our questions. Thank you very much, sir, for today's session.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. Wow, 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 wow. If there is one thing, like, sir, the way you took this session, like, you made it very descriptive. Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We are not taking it for granted.
It's
Okay.
also great to put the impact and the knowledge out there too. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome, sir. So we will call it a night here. Please, One thing I love is that I want us to also network. You can send a message to our speaker on WhatsApp. Once you join the data analysts group in the CIH WhatsApp community, once you join the data analyst group, I think he's already there. Yes, I think he's already there. So you can see his contact there and connect with him. Olamide Ishaka, your mic is on. Can't limit. Okay. You can see his contact there and connect with him. It's very, very important as creative to network. And then before we go for the night, tomorrow is another great day. Yeah, tomorrow is another great day. And we'll be having um a powerful speaker that will be speaking on the design career. Yeah. And guess what? Your wonderful moderator will also be here tomorrow. So get ready tomorrow. We'll be having Sassy Plus tomorrow. He'll be speaking on the design career. I know you wouldn't want to miss it. And then also invite your friends. Invite your friends to join. You can send the links to them to join us tomorrow. Then lastly, I want to thank every one of us for joining. And then for our wonderful host, Sir Samji, I appreciate and respect you. Thank you so much for all you do. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. So with this, we'll call it a night. We'll call it a day. We'll call it anything you wanna call it. Oh, wow! Thank you so much, Tolu. Please, if you enjoy my session, I would like you tell me if you enjoy my moderation, so that I'll feel emotional as small before I go to bed. If I